Welcome to the AXCAST. This is the Wednesday, July 16th, 2025 edition of the AXCAST. And guys, it has been too long. Per usual, a ton of Grizzlies news has come down here. Let me introduce you guys first. Here with the number one hype man in the NBA, BLJ. That's Luke Edemark. Luke, how we doing?
Good.
All right. Here with my other co-host, it's Eric Parmenter. Eric, how we doing?
You're good, Caleb. How are you?
Doing all right. Doing all right. It's been a crazy past couple of months for the Grizzlies since our season was ended by the Thunder. It was the last time that we all spoke. But yeah, I think probably the most job dropping, earth shattering thing that we should probably get to first would be the Desmond Bane trade. Zach Kleiman shocked everybody, not just in the Grizzlies world, but I would say in the NBA world, in trading away Desmond Bane. Guys, take it away. What were y'all's thoughts?
Well, if you tuned into the last AXCAST, I brought it up the possibility. Um, I said I thought it should happen as much as I love Desmond Bane, but I thought we weren't going to pull the trigger, and so I was actually shocked that we actually did it. Um, again, I was the original Desmond Bane stockholder. I still love Desmond Bane. He's a great player, great embodiment of a Memphis Grizzly. But when push comes to shove, the amount of money we'd have to pay him, Ja, and Jaren, have you seen enough from Desmond Bane when it matters most in a playoff environment to think you could still get away with paying all three of those guys that much money? And the short answer was no. Um, and I think circumstances would be different if we didn't get this type of haul. Like if we made this trade just to make this trade, then you can definitely get more argumentative and about whether or not it was the right move. But to me, as much as I love Desmond Bane, I'm going to miss him, and he's going to be perfect in Orlando, in my opinion. Like 4 first round picks and a pick swap plus a veteran player in KCP that's been through wars, NBA Finals champion, plays defense, can hit open threes, which we need on this team is guys who can hit wide open corner threes. Like I don't know. I think it's a above and beyond any sort of haul I would have expected. So I am very much pro the trade, but very much sad that Desmond Bane is no longer a Grizzly. I think it's going to look sick in my head when I get to watch Desmond Bane play his first game in a Orlando Magic uniform because it's not going to sit right with me. But I think it was the best thing for the Memphis Grizzlies, and we got a hell of a haul for him.
Yeah, I am no denying that crazy amount of return. But I was really sad to see him go. He was one of my favorite players. And I'm just thinking you know, he was not one of like the type of player that we kind of needed. I think was like someone who can shoot, someone who cared about winning, and like those are two things that I thought we were having trouble with last year. And he did both of those like pretty well. So it's it's going to be hard. And I think like you can say like you were saying, Eric, um, he didn't perform as well in the playoffs, but like we played the NBA champion Thunder, who was just like murdering us every offensive possession with their defense. So I think it's hard to judge him off that. And then like last year we played the not last year we didn't make playoffs. But like we've played like been eliminated by really strong like playoff teams. Like the Warriors won the championship the year they beat us, and I think the Lakers went to the conference finals. So it's like, and we've never been healthy in a playoff series also. And to say like we need to get rid of Desmond Bane because of these losses, I think is a little bit not fair. But like we got a crazy haul, and the other good thing is getting rid of his contract. So if we're gonna do it, this was a good trade. But I was really sad because I really liked him. So, and I think we're definitely a weaker team now, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, at first I was shocked. That's one of the things that, like, I think you remember where you were when you found out the news. At least for me, like I remember where I was, like when I heard the news that we traded for Desmond Bain. I was like, I can't believe that this happened. Eric, you did mention that last AXCAST. Some earth shattering move like this might have to happen. I just didn't think it actually would, and but it is crazy too. I'm just to reiterate what you guys are saying. Like, I'll definitely miss Dez. Like somebody who embodied the city and loved being in Memphis, and like to call Memphis home and give back to the community and all the things that you would want somebody to do. For our smaller market team, who it takes a special kind of player to like it here and to actually want to play here long term. And so we hate to see a guy who actually bought into that leave. You know, not and still on good terms. But unfortunately, last Axcast, I was sitting here saying, "Did you watch Desmond Bain play against the Oklahoma City Thunder?" And to counter your point, Luke, I'll push back a little bit because, yeah, that's sure that's the eventual champion, but that's the goal, right? Our goal is to beat the champion. Our goal is to win the championship. So if we're not measuring us up against the champions, then who would we measure it against? So it's because he could not put the ball on the floor. He could barely get a shot off against the Oklahoma City Thunder. So it was tough. It was rough. I remember reading off the stats. I think last AXCast, I read off all the box scores from the sweep. And so those are the tough questions. We sat here last time and said you got to look yourself in the mirror and ask those tough questions. And Zach Kleiman did it to his credit. I think we were getting ready to criticize him a little bit. I think we did criticize Zach Kleiman a little bit last AXCast, but to his credit, he did it. And like you guys already said, an insane haul. Love KCP. I think I read something. He's like one of the only 3 or 4 players active in league right now that has been on an NBA champion team, 2 separate teams. Like he won with the Nuggets and the Lakers, right? So he's
Yep.
like one of only 3 or 4 active players that's won a championship with 2 NBA teams. So that's cool. Experience. And like I know me personally, I've been begging for somebody with experience like that, a 3-and-D player especially. I would have liked Cole Anthony. I would have liked him, which we'll use that to transition. We did get picks as well, and that insane amount of picks from that Desmond Bain trade. So I'm happy with it. I think it was a good move. Yes, we didn't necessarily get better from that, but we got to use these assets, so that'll propel us and transition us to our next topic. So we kind of we bought out Cole Anthony's contract, and so we still needed a backup point guard, right? There's kind of rumors of maybe trying to get Tyus back here, maybe Mike Conley reunion, stuff like that. Ultimately, Zach Kleiman and the Grizzlies front office sided with getting, I think, a steal for Ty Jerome to play backup point guard for us. Eric, I know you're a little bit more familiar with the Cavs than we are. So, what do you think of the Ty Jerome trade?
Yeah. As an Ohio resident, a lot of my friends are Cavs fans, so I've watched my fair share of Cavs basketball over the last couple of years. Ty Jerome is, he's definitely not a perfect player by any means, especially on the defensive end. But he's 6'5", um, and man, he just shoots the ball. Like he's aggressive, and his game. This is gonna sound weird. His game reminds me of like Kyle Anderson on steroids on offensively. Like he has like these slow mo like capabilities inside the arc where he just does these little quick stutter steps and like pump fakes, and he's so efficient in the mid range game, like just setting the pace, like operating at his own cadence and forcing defenders to either foul him or fall for pump fakes. And on top of that, he's a 43% 3-point shooter on real volume. Like he's not afraid to shoot it either. And the whole phrase with the Cavs this past year was the Cavalanche, when they just go and start beating teams to death, go on these huge runs. More times than not, a lot of those were sparked by Ty Jerome coming off the bench and leading that second unit. He's just a really good basketball player. Again, some defense of concerns for sure. and that's kind of some of the other defensive guys we brought onto our team. Hopefully, we'll supplement that. But I'm a huge fan of Ty Jerome. I thought personally teams were going to try to offer him 15 million plus, and so to get him on the contract that we got him at is just unfathomable. I can't believe the Cavs didn't bring him back. Cavs fans are pissed because of how important he was to their success this year. Yes, he had a couple bad games in the playoffs. He also dropped like 28 points in one of the playoff games. Um, but again, with the injuries that the Cavs had in the playoffs, he was asked to have a bigger role, and he's not supposed to be, a starter guy with the ball in his hands. He's a playmaker off the bench who, when asked to fill a role in the starting lineup, would be a good like 2 or 3 guy. So he was kind of out of position and had a couple bad shooting performances. But overall, I really like him. He's a very fun player who, again, your point earlier, Luke, he cares about winning. He has that mentality where he wants to win and he truly cares. You will never question whether or not Ty Jerome cares about winning, even if he has some lapses defensively or even if it's a night where his shot's not going in. He cares and he has that dog in him and he's not afraid to wear it on his sleeve and like talk to the crowd and other players too. So I think he's going to fit in great in Memphis.
Yeah, agreed. I was really happy to see that signing. It was like surprisingly low amount. So, and I remember there was a game against Cleveland this year, and I thought like we had a really good chance of winning it. And then Ty Jerome just like went crazy mode in the fourth quarter, would not miss a shot. So like that was my only impression of him, and it was a really good one. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him play. Definitely needed another ball handler. Definitely used shooting. So great addition.
Yeah, all the same things that you guys would say. Great deal, good competitive role player, and just something else. I was sitting here complaining, like, can we get somebody else that can dribble a basket, just dribble, pass, and shoot? Can we get somebody else on the roster besides John Morant and kind of Scottie Pippen Jr. that can dribble a basketball and not get it stolen? We didn't have anybody in that Oklahoma Series Thunder that could do that. Dribble a basketball. You'd think that'd be an okay thing to ask for an NBA player. So Ty Jerome, somebody that can dribble a basketball. I like the signing. I guess let's see. New faces. We already talked about KCP, Ty Jerome. Cole Anthony's not coming. We bought his contract out. We re-signed Santi Aldama. I guess we can start there. Luke, he's your guy. How do you feel?
Fantastic news. I was really starting to worry with the loss of Desmond Bane that we might let him go too, but I'm glad to know that the priorities are good and we got to keep him. Looking forward to the next few years with Santi. Integral piece. Slim Spain. Big fan of his game. Big fan of this signing. And big things coming.
Eric?
I do like Santi Aldama a lot. He shows a lot of good things. My biggest, not slander, but dissatisfaction with him is his lack of effort defensively. Not just that he's incapable, but he doesn't show an effort. So that was one reason why I was kind of pro moving on from him, especially if it meant us making a bigger splash in the offseason somewhere else. But if we could bring him back, we need scoring off the bench. He can do that for sure. Hopefully his shooting gets a little more consistent because it's a little streaky, but when it's on and it's great. So hoping, he could just bring a bigger competitive fight defensively. And again, like if we have some supplemental defenders that we add to our roster, playing on the floor with him, then it's not as a glaring hole as our roster construction last year when he's out there and he's just clearly a net negative on defense. So I don't mind it at all. I like Santi. He's a very funny player, very finesse. Also cares, especially, offensively, he always cares. He's got that fire under him. Just hopefully he can channel some defensive tendencies this offseason.
Yeah. No, I'd reiterate pretty much all the same. I think there was no real doubt that we were going to re-sign Santi because Zach Kleiman made it abundantly clear. Like he was like, and also just Zach Kleiman just loves Santi Aldama because that's one of his better hits. That's probably like his best hit
That's
that
his baby.
he's had.
Yeah.
So like there was no doubt that like Kleiman was going to re-sign Santi. He's not letting him go. But no, I mean I think Santi's a solid role player, and got him relatively cheap. Um, Moving on, another one of our re-signings. We brought back Jaren. So a lot of stuff to unpack here with Jaren Jackson over the past month. We re-signed him, making 48 million roughly a year on average. I think is what his new contract is. Obviously, not 48 million every year. It's staggered a little bit, but I think the math came out to just under 50 million a year for Jaren, which seems like a lot, but if you really look at it, he was what two places away from making All NBA third team. So it was only Alperen Sengun that was behind him, right? So you really just missed a huge. It's an extra 100 million to his contract, right? If he makes an All NBA
Yeah.
team, and he didn't make a Defensive Player of the Year, he didn't get a Defensive Player of the Year. Which actually, when Wemby went down, he was the betting favorite. Jaren immediately went to the betting favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year. So I think no one was rejoicing more that someone didn't make an All NBA team than Jaren Jackson Jr. And then obviously the unfortunate news with the injury. So what do y'all's takes on that?
I think the NBA needs to look into like these incentivized contracts. Like you shouldn't be actively rooting against your player to not make all NBA because of like the financial implications, right? Like obviously the Grizzlies front office would have loved for him to be first team all NBA or whatever, but like the amount of salary cap hit that would have done to us, like that would have strangled us for like the next 4 or 5 years financially. So like, I don't know. First of all, I just feel like that needs to be changed at some level, just for fairness sakes. Um, but yeah, like you said, Caleb, we kind of dodged a bullet. I'll take it. It's definitely a cheaper contract than any of us probably envisioned, and he's a great player, and he's the only one really in our franchise that you could say every year he's gotten better. He's grown some area of his game every offseason. Um, I know he's for some reason there's still people that hate Jaren or always love to call out all of his imperfections, but he's gotten better every year, and he clearly is going to outperform that contract in my opinion. So I think that's great. Again, the injury luck, it never ends. I don't know how our medical staff is still employed. They need to be shipped off and outed. We need, you know, to hire the best doctors in the world and ship them over here. Like, forget spending money in free agency. Can we just spend an off season of getting the top medical professionals in the world and bringing them in? Like, that would solve half the battle. If we could just have our players on the for the majority of the season, that would solve a lot of things. So it's just again frustrating that our players can't even play in a pickup game in the offseason without something going haywire. But overall, happy for Jaren. Hopefully it's just minor and he'll be back pretty soon.
Yeah, agreed. Happy for Jaren. Definitely deserved it. I think, like, I agree. The contract thing is weird, Eric, but it is what it is. I think like even if he did qualify, probably should have had to give it to him, even though it would have been crazy because it's like playing in Memphis. There's just not that many stars that want to live in Memphis and play for the team. So like when you have someone that's homegrown and I feel likes it here, then like you can't let him go, even if it's like however much it is. But kind of did getting lucky with him not making it by the short margin. So that's kind of a blessing in disguise, I guess. And again, with the injuries, like we'll never stop talking about it. I think Eric was onto something with that off-season medical rehaul, but who knows? It's like maybe we're just drafting players that are made out of glass and just shatter themselves all the time. But again, with Jaren, like he goes through spells that are like you think he might even be the best player on the team, and he's just so dominant in the paint, and then on defense, like incredible. So, um, super happy. Looking forward to the next five.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the only other thing I was going to add that Luke said. You gotta capitalize and pay a guy that likes being here and like wants to be a Grizzly for life. Like, and by the way, is awesome. Like, it's like a very well-rounded, good basketball player. Um, I've mentioned some hurdles in his playoff performances in the past, but I mean, you can't pass up paying a player like Jaren Jackson Jr., who you don't have to worry about, his character and who he's going to be off the court. Jaren's not going to be giving you any headaches, anything like that. So, um, yeah, I think I heard he's probably going to miss the first 2, maybe 3 months recovering from of the season,
Oh,
recovering from that turf toe because he's got surgery. He had surgery, so
I've heard mixed reporting, but that's definitely a possibility. And with our luck, that's probably the most likely. But I've
at
heard some
least
people.
well,
I
and you
heard
also got to
he's
remember
being like reevaluated. He's going to be like reevaluated around training camp, so that probably will. That doesn't mean he'll be ready by then. It probably means like after that, it'll be slow build up to when he could play. So that's probably going to end up being sort of right.
okay.
yeah. I mean, you also got to remember he's basically 7 feet tall, so it takes a 7-footer's body different timetables than a 6-foot guard. So, I mean, we went through this with the meniscus, right? Remember that year, towards meniscus in the bubble, and then it was all the way leading up into the next year. It was going to be by Christmas, and then it was going to be by MLK Day, and then you turn around, it's like March, and he's finally back. So
He made it back though.
hopefully, it's nothing like that. But he has been relatively healthy. He's been one of our more healthy players in his past couple seasons. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, super happy for Jaren. Love that he, got this is his second extension with us, right? So, you know, he's gotten 2 big paydays, and probably, I mean, he's already been set up for life now with his first extension. But it's just cool that the Grizzlies front office can continue to pay his big bill and not have it be some other team, because you're always gonna like be more appreciative of that franchise that gave you all the money, right? So that'll be kind of cool. Um, Moving on. Next one. Speaking of the 7-footers, we had Zach Eady. This is a whole just nightmare to unpack. Was back in the Lafayette area in Indiana and got caught speeding. I think it was 101 miles an hour. Is that what it was? I don't. It was very fast, well over speed limit. And then he also was injured. So something with his foot. You just can't catch a break. You just can't catch a break with these Grizzlies players. So y'all take it away.
He just forgot that he wasn't in Memphis anymore, and so he actually had to follow the speed rules. Because in Memphis they have bigger fish to fry, so a lot of times cops aren't even out. So he
And
just
they'll pull
back in
you over.
West
They
Lafayette.
got slow speed limits in Indiana.
Yeah, but I feel like the West Lafayette police force, that's their main thing is speeding. Whereas in Memphis, it's a different story. So not too worried about that. But the injury sucks. The injury really sucks, and is definitely going to impact things for us next year. Um, especially just not having a full summer to develop and maybe even another summer league and expand upon his game. That just stunts his growth. So I mean, I'm not really sure the extent of what he can do right now, but it just sucks that he can't have another full summer under his belt. But we'll see. I mean, we saw a lot of good things from him last year, so hoping that he can just maybe be watching film and learning from his mistakes visually on film instead of physically adding stuff to his game. And then once he is healthy, he can kind of work on that. But just average Grizzlies injury.
Yeah. Yeah. Tough summer for Zach on both fronts. You're right. Like, this is gonna be the second summer now, and he's not been healthy for either of them. And like, that's when you'd like to hope he would make some steps forward. So, kind of is too bad. And I'm just thinking now, like, if Jaren and Zach Edey are both going to be injured to start the season, and we don't even have like Huff we can throw in there anymore. We got Jock Landale. I saw, like, maybe he can help, but like, do we even have any like big men that we can play? I don't know.
It's
So,
Landell and Brandon Clark, I think. That's
and
it.
Brandon Clark, is he even healthy too? I thought he got injured again.
He's supposed to be healthy, I think, but
Okay. I mean, this is gonna be tough. Um, but you know, I mean, he got injured throughout the season too.
He like
It's
never missed a game at Purdue, right?
and then, yeah, and then he gets to Memphis, and then all this. It's something about like the city,
it's
but
cursed. It's the medical staff. It all goes back to the medical staff.
it's becoming a trend. But
These trainers are just like, you're fine.
yeah,
You'd think
but
we're a
as
third
far as
world
like,
country.
yeah, not concerned about his traffic incident. I remember driving in Eric's car a couple times, and
Rip to the 500.
Rip.
Rip to the 500, man. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it just sucks because that starting, is it the front court? Front court. I always forget that. Front court's the big man.
Yeah.
The starting front court is gonna be abysmal opening night for the Memphis Grizzlies. I know. I even like texted my friends in Indy. Once we traded Jay Huff to the, or did we trade him, or did he just sign? I think we traded
We
him.
traded him for
Yeah.
like a second round pick or something.
Yeah.
Bad move.
So
really good.
I know. So I texted all my Pacers friends. I was like, take good care of Jay Huff. Like, miss Jay Huff.
He had like some crazy games.
I know. I was like, he should have been playing more minutes. I wanted him to play in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I was like,
so what I read is because Isolo likes the pick and roll, Jay Huff is more of like this modern stretch big, like because he just steps out and shoots threes and doesn't play defense. Whereas Landell's like more of a traditional pick and roll, burly, plays defense, gets rebounds. So yeah, but I'm gonna miss Huff stuffs.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss the reverse dunks, the three. He shot great from three too. It's just he was an absolute traffic cone on defense, and so that sucked to let him go though.
he got blocks though.
The Huff snuff.
Sometimes,
Yeah,
but like when it was like one-on-one situations, I mean, he was cooked.
No.
Slow feet don't eat. Yeah, I'm gonna be missing the Pete Huff snuffs and Huff stuffs.
Yeah.
I'll miss those. That's probably one of. I mean, if we're ranking, we got to do this one AXCAST, like ranking Pete's sayings. Yeah, Peteisms.
Like a bracket or something.
I mean, Huff Snuff. It might be up there. It might be up there towards number one for Peteisms.
I made like my only Instagram post caption: "Hammer nail coffin.
This baby's over.
This baby's over."
I mean, that one's tough to beat. That one might be number one just because like it's so iconic. Like I've been trying to find a T-shirt of Hammer Nail Coffin for a while. and I
Yeah.
can't find one. I remember one friend though from high school that had a Hammer Nail Coffin T-shirt, and I've thought about it, and I've been trying to find one ever since. I can't find one, so that would probably be number one. But
Yeah.
we ought to do.
Keeps
That's a good idea for an AXCAST segment. We ought to do that. We ought to do that.
maybe that could be the first ever AXCAST merch release.
Merch release. Yeah, yeah. We'll just taking off here. Um, yeah. What else with signings? Ty Jerome, we covered that. Zach Eady, Jaren.
Missed the
I mean,
draft.
yeah, I was making sure we
That's
covered
that's
everything.
different, I guess.
Cam
I think
Spencer.
Cam
Who?
Spencer, Cam Spencer, dog, love that. I love the Cam Spencer signing. What do y'all think?
There's a dog in my house.
There's an actual dog in your house.
I know.
I I like Cam Spencer a lot. I'm gonna miss my beloved Luke Kennard, but if your only job is to shoot threes and you reach a point where you don't shoot threes and you just refuse to take them and you're not providing anything defensively, it's not great. Whereas Cam Spencer provides more facilitation on offense. He can create his own shot. He can dribble, actually dribble. He can penetrate defenses. He shoots threes. He shoots them very well. Up there with Kennard, maybe not exactly up to Kennard's tier of make percentage, but it's decently close. And he takes more of them, which is good. And then he's just a dog, like Caleb said. He cares. He's a sicko. He's a psycho. He's from Dan Hurley's tree. And we need guys like that on my basketball team who he said he's never dated anyone in his life because he's married to the game of basketball and he doesn't have time.
I love that.
So I love it. I love it.
Agreed.
He's got that like one of the memories that I have of this past season is just the Kevin Durant
Yeah.
game where he's hitting the threes and then getting all up in Kevin Durant's face. Like nobody's ever heard of Cam Spencer. I mean, not on the NBA level. He hasn't made a name for himself in the NBA level, but he's standing up. That's Kevin Durant. I mean, one of the greatest scorers, one of the greatest basketball players, and he just I don't care. I'm Cam Spencer. I love that. So
Dog.
dog, give me more Cam Spencer. Um, yeah. It was tough to see Luke Kennard go. But yeah, man, I think he Courtney lead us, as Chris Vernon says. I got to get a Chris Vernon reference in there every AXCAST. But yeah, I think
mean?
he just Courtney Lee essentially like he was shooting a certain percentage from three, and like would not take any more threes. Like
Oh.
once he hit his percentage, he wouldn't take any more unless he was wide open, a wide open corner three. That's like a layup.
Mhm.
So I think he kind of did that.
It's almost it's either that it was either intentional or he just got the yips. Like it reached a point where we've seen him be aggressive before, but
Right.
he was getting decently open shots that a shooter of his capability easily takes and gets off those shots, and he just refused to take them.
Yeah. Now I'm sure he probably like wasn't actually actively trying not to play well. I wouldn't accuse him of actually doing that, but no, it stinks. I kind of wanted Luke Kennard back, but the Hawks have just been doing insane deals this offseason. They've been like the East team that's been going crazy. So
Indeed.
yeah, I think that's everything on the like free agency front, and so got to transition now to the draft. The Grizzlies via the Desmond Bane trade. The draft became a lot more interesting like the week of the draft because what did we make that Desmond Bane trade like pretty much a week before the draft or something like that, like not I
Yeah.
mean it was really close. And so it immediately became like, well, who are the Grizzlies going to take with this high pick, and ended up being Cedric Coward, another Washington State wing player. So y'all take it away. Y'all know more about Cedric than I do.
Eric knows like a
I've been in the weeds with Cedric Coward.
what?
Obviously, before the Desmond Bane trade, we didn't think we'd be picking this high, and so I didn't do much
Hear
research at
me?
all. Um, but whenever we traded up, or not traded up, but whenever we acquired that pick in the Desmond Bane trade, I started looking up draft stuff like crazy, and no one was really catching my eye. Oh, there goes Luke.
Yeah, Luke's gone.
Um, no one was really catching my eye except Cedric Coward, and it sounds it sounds like I'm making this up. Like literally, I started watching film on this guy, and his story is just fascinating. First of all, like coming from Eastern Washington, Washington State. Even before that, he was at a no-name school. But man, he just pops on the tape. He pops. You don't see a 6'6" guy who has a 7'2" wingspan and shoots over 40% from three and moves like he does. He moves so fluidly, like he's like a 6'2" point guard. His handles are decent. They're not great. That's an area of improvement for sure. But he's like a prototypical 3-and-D guy, plays hard on defense, can shoot, and is built like a machine. And it's easy to get overhyped and try to make him into something he's not. But it makes me feel good that he was getting paid millions of dollars in NIL to go play for Duke. John Shire wanted to recruit him over there. The top programs in the nation were recruiting him to go play on their team. He unofficially signed with Duke, and then last minute, because of the great feedback he got at the combine, once he recovered from his injury, they were like, "Yeah, we'll draft you." And his stock just continued to rise after his workouts. And I'm a big believer in Cedric Coward. It stinks that he got injured again with his shoulder, and he's not playing in summer league. But I truly think he's one of these guys that it's probably for the best that we just wait him out, and at the very very least, he's going to make training camp very interesting as far as challenging guys and being provoking competition as to who's getting a starting role and who's getting rotation minutes or whatnot. Just man, he's just special, and I wouldn't say he has like the dog in him because he's just a super nice guy who's like very smart, very intelligent, but he's so like methodical. Like if you hear him talk, he just sounds like a super genius, and his traits and his stats just back it up. Like 7'2" wingspan's insane, and he's playing like he's a 6'2" guard. So I'm very excited for Cedric Coward, but I have some other hot takes about one of our other draftees this year that I'm going to wait for a little later in this AXCAST. But very, very high on Cedric Coward. He's the only guy I was willing to come up and draft. So I'm very glad that Kleiman had the same vision.
Yeah. I like start off by saying like I believe in Coward. I like believe in all Grizzlies players. I kind of am like a little bit in disagreement though, like as first of all, he only played 6 games or so for Washington State, and like all his other games were at like a mid major. Um, he's injured already. Like he missed a whole year, almost the whole year. Washington State injured again. Like if he's already getting injured this much with the Grizzlies' injury history, like where's this gonna go? Um, I think he does have the right body type to his credit, and like what I'm concerned about is like people like seeing his maturity in interviews and stuff, and then like giving that a lot of weight while like you know, are you worried about how good of a basketball player is like less because of how impressed you were with his interviews? You know what I mean? And like he just hasn't proven himself in actual games against real competition that much because even the 6 games for Washington State he played was against like again like kind of mid-major teams. It was like early season, I think he played like one against Iowa or something like some Big Ten
Yeah.
team.
He did
So
play 32 games for Eastern Washington the year before, so that's not mid-major. But yes, the
Okay.
sample size is small.
Yes. All right. Okay. So that's it's still it's not a
Yeah, yeah,
Power Five conference, but that's right. I didn't realize that. But I maintain my argument. Like I think like
right.
I would have been happy to draft him at 16, but also like trading up a whole first round pick to move up 5 slots feels like expensive to me. That's like half the Desmond Bane trade picks right there. Um, and I just feel like he's unproven. I thought he sounded really nice, like a great guy in his interviews, but like I was saying, like I don't know, like are you gonna be good at basketball? Because are you gonna be healthy? Because I don't know. It's I guess we'll have to wait and see. But I'm kind of skeptical about this, and I used to trust Kleiman like unconditionally, and now like recent years, I've be kind of like, you know, he looks more human. So I think one telling thing he said was in his interview, like we don't feel like we're one player away from making a championship. Like he was like saying, like we got to be honest with ourselves, so we're not going to go out and like try to retool already. We're in for more like rebuilding again, I guess, and that might Coward might fit well into that, and he does look like the body of a good player, but like as far as immediate impact and maybe even like permanent impact if he can get healthy, I'm just I have questions.
I think it's fair to have questions. I'll say a couple quick things before Caleb goes.
Okay.
First thing is, Michael Wallace from Grind City Media. On draft night, he was at the Barclays Center, and he was like in this room with like all the other media members and like some GMs, or not GMs, but like some like staff personnel representatives from other teams. And he said after the Grizzlies selected him at 11, that multiple teams came up to him and said they were about to take him at 12, 13, and 14. So we moved. It's not like we moved up just to get him and no one was going to get him. There were other teams that were in place to select him that high. So I'll say that. And I do think it's fair, totally fair the points you made about not proving himself. The one disagreement I'll make is that Kleiman said it himself, and Tayshaun Prince said it in an interview the other day at Summer League, that they're viewing this as a retool, not a rebuild. And I mean, obviously we could debate, how competitive will be next year with this roster, but I don't think Cedric Coward's a development guy. I don't think he's like a guy that he's not a project, but I mean it's not like we can count on him to come and be a starter for us next year. It could happen. I mean, look at Jalen Wells. He started like 70 games for us. So I don't think he's going to be that potentially, but I do think, barring health concerns, which is a fair concern to have, I think he's going to be a decently big part of what we do next year. So, but time will tell.
Fair.
Yeah. For an eternity, for our entire Grizz fandom, we have been looking for a scoring two-way wing, a small forward, a three, someone to play that three position, and who could just make a wide open three, put the ball on the floor, defend their position at an above average level. And we keep drafting them, whether it's Zaire Williams, whether it's David Roddy, whether it's Jay,
Jake Laravia.
Jake Laravia. I mean, we keep trying to find these small forwards. Hopefully, Cedric Coward can be that wing for us. I would lean more on Luke's side. I'm just, I'm tired. I'm not saying that he's not going to be good. He's going to be good. I have every reason to believe that Cedric. I've heard somebody would take him as high as like five, like inside the top five, which is cool. But I'm just so tired of kind of hoping that these draft picks can help out Ja and Jaren come April and May and hopefully June. You know, that's what this is, and I understand it's from the Desmond Bane trade and all that. I think Cedric Coward is going to be good. I'm hoping it's good enough, quick enough to match with our timeline. Because when you watch this film, I mean, yeah, the first thing that stands out is his size and just the freaking length of his arms is crazy. And then like that first, if you like watch any like Cedric Coward Washington State highlight reel, like the first one is like he gets the defender up in the air with the pump fake, and then he like kind of leans and makes this like off balance 3 pointer from the top of the key, and you're like doing that at 6'6" with the 7'2" wingspan is that's pretty impressive. So the tools are there. I see why everybody is so high on him, and I'm hoping that he pans out. I'm just hoping you're right, Eric, and that it's sooner rather than later because I mean it just feels like we do this after every year in the draft. We draft somebody and we hope that they can match our timeline.
And I think that's the perfect way to look at it. And I think all of us feel this same way, is that two things could be true at once. A, we're frustrated with, we keep going through this cycle of having to draft guys and try to rely on them. We all would prefer us to go make a big trade or a big splash in free agency after a proven guy, a proven small forward. We tried it with Michael Bridges. We tried it with Dorian Finney-Smith. It hasn't panned out. So we clearly are frustrated that we would prefer that route. But at the same time, I don't think this is a David Roddy, Zaire Williams situation. Personally, his jump shot is so smooth, man. It looks so repeatable, and it looks like it can translate. So I think just those two things could be separated. That I'd totally prefer that we don't have to go down this route again of having to try to rely on a draft guy. A day before the Desmond Bane trade, I would have said no. I don't want to draft anybody at all. I want to go make a big trade, a big splash. But circumstances happen, and I think at the same time this could be a different conversation than we've been having with the Zaire Williamses and David Roddies of the world. But time will tell.
Yeah,
We'll see.
yeah, we'll see. He looks good. He looks like an amazing player that you would want to draft. So we'll hope it pans out. Hopefully he can stay healthy. It sounded like he maybe could have played in the Las Vegas Summer League, but they were just being ultra cautious, which is probably the smart thing to do if you're on a Memphis Grizzlies roster. So, um, but yeah, I think that was everything. Did we miss any headliners from the last time that we talked?
Eric wanted to say his take about the other
So
draftees.
Oh yeah, let's hear
yes.
it.
So I don't. First of all, how have you guys watched any of the summer league, if at all?
Not
No.
really.
No. Yeah. Okay. So I'll be the summer league reporter here. So we have two other draft picks. We picked Javon Small, point guard out of West Virginia. He got injured after the first game, unfortunately, so he hasn't played since then. In his
Groin
short,
injury, right?
yeah, I didn't even see it happen. But in that game, he played. He looked pretty good. He's a feisty guard, physical, plays defense, will guard you the whole court. Can score. So he's a two-way guy. I don't I don't envision him seeing any actual minutes on the Grizzlies this year, um, unless we're somehow depleted again with injuries, which I guess is entirely possible. Um, but man, there's been a development with the last pick of the draft, Mr. Irrelevant, Jahmai Mashack. I have fallen in love with this guy over these past couple weeks. I think you guys will too. I I cannot believe this guy was the last pick in the draft. I knew nothing about him until we drafted him. I'd heard the name. I don't watch SEC basketball. I watch like Ohio State, Big Ten basketball. So like I'd heard of his name because they play in big games, but I've never really studied his game. And the way they advertised him is he's the best defender in the draft. Everyone is consensus said that. He's by far the best defender in this draft. Just clamps you, like tough, gritty, diving after balls, steals, blocks, lanky, like. and they advertised him as like kind of like a Tony Allen, or like he's just like a net negative, clearly on offense, has no jump shot, provides no value on offense, and that's what teams are scared of. But oh my goodness gracious, how like that looks completely wrong. And like when we drafted him, he's like, no, I was just on a Rick Barnes team at Tennessee where like they filled a role where I didn't have to be a scorer because we had plenty of scorers around me. I was a scorer in high school, and no one has seen that, but I could put it on film. Trust me. He said that. I was like, okay, that's probably what everyone would say. In summer league, this dude has been a complete menace. He's been the best player on the court multiple nights in a row in games in which Jalen Wells and Gigi Jackson were playing for the Grizzlies. Like, I think last night he had like 4 or 5 blocks and steals. He had 15 points, was 2 for 3 from three. And the big, like, not obviously the jump shot's the big thing. Like, if he can be consistent with an open 3-point shot, which he had another game where he was 3 for 3 from three, and it looks good. It's not like it's janky and goes in. Like, it looks pretty smooth. Then he'd be great. But the biggest development is like he's this like ball handler. He's like this connector offensive glue guy that just brings the ball up the court, can handle pressure, and is like making these insane reads and passes. And like everyone has been baffled who's watching these games, like, where the hell did this come from? Because he didn't put any of it on film at Tennessee. I guess he was right. He said they didn't need him to do that. He didn't have a role there other than just being the lockdown defender, not touching the ball on offense. So I am like, I need to be talked off a cliff on how much I like this guy because I know it's just summer league, but it just looks like it translates. Like he's just a complete dog. And the icing on the cake, I'll stop ranting here in a second. The icing on the cake was last night. This was like a 10 p.m. tip. It's like after midnight Eastern. I'm about to go to bed. I'm still watching this game. It's like 5 minutes left. I think we're down 6. He gets like the sideline interview with ESPN. And they're like asking him, like, what do you guys have to do down to stretch? Unprovoked, he goes, no, I'm treating this like the NBA Finals right now. We got to go give all of our heart out on this court and go win this basketball game. We treat every possession like it's the finals. Like, this dude is a junkyard dog, like, actually. Like, you could say you're a dog, and then you say something like that. There was like 200 people in this arena. There was no one in there, and he's treating like it's a final game. And I just encourage you guys to go watch. If there's any summer league highlights of Jahmai Mashack, just go I'm not asking you to fall in love with him. Just go consider it. Just go watch it. Keep an open mind. And I'll leave you with this hot take, and I'll stop talking.
That was a great pitch.
I'm baking in a Cedric Coward injury, potential injury problem this year. Yeah. I think he's going to be the most impactful Grizzlies rookie this year. And I think he's going to be a rotation guy by the end of the year. Easily. Easily.
What, you also like Coward a lot, so who do you like more?
No, I do like Coward a lot, but I think Coward's like a 3-and-D. Like, he's supposed to be like this offensive, like, he's supposed to be good offensively, and then he's also pretty good at defense. Mashack is a lockdown defender. Like, lockdown defender who now apparently knows how to pass and shoot. Yeah. So I like Cedric Coward a lot, but my favorite draftee this year is Jahmai Mashack. And that could sound crazy. That's my hot take. I think Jahmai Mashack is going to be a bigger contributor to the Grizzlies this year than Cedric Coward. There's a reason why we've already signed our other 2 rookies and we have Jahmai Mashack, because I think he's getting a full standard NBA contract. I think he's not going to be on a 2-way. I think he's going to be on the roster pretty soon. Knock on wood. That's my hot take. I'll stop talking.
Maybe Eric's the Skip Bayless of this episode.
Just go watch the tape. Go watch the tape. That's all I ask.
It sounds great.
Go watch the tape.
I hope you're right. I am gonna go watch it after this.
I've fallen in love with him. It's bad.
I don't have much experience with Jahmai Mashack. I mean, he did hit a game winner at UT, right? So he's got a little bit of a jump shot. And then, I listened to him on the Vernon show, And let me tell you, that interview got me fired up. And he's talking about how like Alex Caruso is a star player, like Tony Allen is a star player, like all these defenders. I don't think he mentioned it, but like guys like Davion Mitchell, like those, gritty defenders. Like those are the star players, and he's like, you guys in the media are like twisting this. It's not really like star players or what you guys think. It's really like the Alex Caruso's, where I was like, dude, this guy's psychopath. This guy is. I like this guy. This guy's a dog. So
Yeah.
no, he's cool. He's cool, and he was so open, like kind of in that same vein of just playing his role. So he understands that. He's not. I don't think we're gonna have to deal like what we're going through right now with Gigi Jackson, where he just doesn't understand what it
Yeah.
means to not take a shot. Um, so yeah, but no, I'm excited. I am pumped for Jahmai Mashack. I've seen like clips. I haven't watched the full game. I need to go watch some game film on him. But I mean, poor decision in his college choice. But other than that, he seems like a great guy. So hopefully you can kind of forgive him for his choice, his just terrible decision of picking a bad school. But other than that, he seems like a good guy.
The other funny thing was in the first game, he fouled out with 10 fouls
Yeah, I saw
because
that.
he said, you get 10 fouls, so I'm going to use them to my advantage. And he used all 10 of them. But then
Yeah,
since then, he's like been smart and hasn't been fouling. But like he
right.
used them. He's like, I got to use it to my advantage. I love him.
Set the tone. Yeah, I love the take. I love the take that he can be a rotation player. I'd love that. Honestly, because you know what the issue
Because,
was last year? Defense. We sucked at
correct,
defense. So I'm all for it. I mean,
correct.
but I'm tired of doing this every year, where we won the draft. Grizzlies had the best draft. You know, every when it was, it June. Grizzlies won the draft. We're like, well, how about the Grizzlies won games that mattered in April and May and in
Yeah.
June? Hopefully, like that's what really matters. It's not winning the draft or looking good in summer league games. So, but no, I'll be excited. I'm gonna have to do some research. Now that I got a little bit more time here on these Grizzly rookies, but Zach Kleiman looks like another job well done. So,
Yeah,
Sounds
the only other summer league note I'll say is I'm not worried about Jalen Wells, but my radar is up because he's
oh
been
come
very
on,
bad.
oh come on,
He's been very bad offensively,
you
but
My
were
it's
radar
I'm
was up
not
on
gonna
Jalen Wells.
I'm not overreacting. I'm just gonna state that he has not been good offensively and he's playing against inferior competition.
yeah.
And I'm not worried, but my radar is up and I'll be monitoring the situation accordingly.
Well, it's been we're now getting kind of an extended. We're kind of getting a longer list of these, right? That he had an amazing first 2, 3, 4 months of his rookie season, and it is kind of plummeted. What did it start to fall off? Like January, February, I think, is when it started to fall off for Jalen, and it seems like it's still plummeting even in the summer league a little bit. So
It's just the shot, man. His defense is still there. It's just his shot just is not going in. Even like non 3 pointers, like all types of shots are just not going in. He's shooting like 30% from the field, not even from three.
it's like treatment too this year
What?
in summer league. Has it been Gigi?
You cut out for a second. What'd you say?
Yeah, he's doing it again.
Uh,
Oh.
who are we giving like the Zaire Williams? Who are we giving the Zaire Williams summer league treatment to?
Oh,
Yeah.
we were giving it to GG, but then we started giving it to we started giving it to Jalen Wells once Javon Small got hurt, and Jalen Wells just clearly can't. He's not a point guard. He can't handle pressure. So that was disappointing that he hasn't improved like his on ball stuff. So that's probably part of the reason he struggled is just because we don't have a real point guard out there because Javon Small got hurt. So he's been asked to do more than he's supposed to. But Gigi, the report on Gigi is so mixed. He's such a fascinating player, man. Like, because he has so many good play. Like, he's been driving a lot more, which is encouraging. He's taken a lot less bad shots. And especially in the last game, he's made a lot of good passes. So, like, that checks my boxes. But it's still just like he makes boneheaded plays sometimes. And sometimes his 3-pointer swishes, and sometimes it misses by a mile. Sometimes he clamps someone defensively, and sometimes he lets them in like a turnstile and lets them go straight to the hoop. Like, I just don't know with him why it's not like consistent and why like one play he looks like one player and the next play it's like completely different. So again, with him, it's just going to be so fascinating to see what happens this year because the report's been there's been a lot of good, there's been a lot of bad still, and you just got to get rid of the bad. But I don't know.
Yeah, I know. It was definitely a 3. I did see that clip. It was definitely a 3 that he made in Salt Lake City. Should have won that game, but hopefully he can keep progressing and just stop taking so many bad shots.
Yeah,
So
He's still like 20, I think.
yeah,
he's young.
yes. One of these wings has to pan out, man. Gigi Jackson, Jalen Wells, Cedric Coward. Like, can one of these guys just make it to like a third contract? And
Jahmai Mashack.
this guy with Jahmai.
Mm.
All right. So if like you don't get to claim all of the Jahmai Mashack stock,
Yeah.
you can't have all of it.
What's the maximum I could get?
There's 3 of us, so the max you can get is 33%.
Oh, come on. No.
If we sell it, then you can buy it.
If we sell it, you can buy it.
Whose stock do you want that you don't have? And I'll sell you some of my stock.
You can have Santi. You can have my Santi
Yeah,
stock.
I'll give you the rest of my Santi stock, Luke.
I thought I had the Santi stock.
All right, here you can have
sold it already.
Yeah, that's our next. We need to send this to the production team at AXCAST. We need to just have like a live feed
Stock.
of like graphics of like our stock into a player.
Yeah.
That needs to be our next thing.
Our portfolio.
Yeah, we have a
Yeah.
portfolio for every player. So it starts out at 33% is what you can have for Jahmai Mashack.
Yeah, I'll take it. I deserve more, but I'll take it.
If you can sway us with other players. I want the most
Cut out again. There's no way he's going to say the most Jaren
Jaren
stock
stock.
because he booed him on draft night.
No, come
I
on.
should have
That
the
was
most
like
Jaren stock because y'all were
come on.
both booing him on draft night.
No, I should have the
booing
most Jaren stock.
Y'all said that we should have gotten Marvin Bagley.
Yeah. No, that was Wilson. No, Wilson was saying that.
You know what else you said? Luka Doncic doesn't even sound like the name of an NBA player. That was
That
Garrett.
was not me. That was not me.
All
I don't
types of
recall.
like. That was like the best year of my career for sports takes, I think. So
I don't know.
I recall, but
Well, before my Wi-Fi just actually kills me here, is there any other topics that we missed? Anything else that we need to cover?
I think the only thing is that it's Wednesday, July 16th, 2025, and John Conchar is still in the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah. How about that?
we'll never leave.
Somehow.
He's been on the team. Well, we talked about this last time, right? Same time as Ja. Same amount of time as Ja, right?
I think so.
because we drafted him, right?
I think we just signed him like as a undrafted.
He might have been an undrafted pickup. Yeah,
But we acquired
from the
him the same night, right?
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
same.
his Wi-Fi sucks.
Caleb.
It's usually you who has the bad Wi-Fi.
No.
Yes.
Sorry, Wi-Fi's
He's
bad.
back.
Wi-Fi's bad. John Conchar, longest Grizzly. Actually, Jaren's the longest, but all right. I think it's about it. I think it's about all we got time for on the AXCAST. Been
Okay.
great catching up with you guys. I'm sure once the season rolls around here, we'll chat it up again. Always enjoy chatting Grizz with y'all. Till next time, we'll see you guys. This is Caleb, Luke, and Eric signing off. See y'all next time.